Faye Wade and I'm based at the University of Edinburgh. Today I'm going to talk about some of the work that I've been doing on an evaluation of the Energy Efficient Scotland programme. And particularly I'm drawing on a paper that I developed with Professor Jan Webb and Dr. Ruth Bush, looking at local authorities and delivery partners for retrofitting at scale. I think this links quite nicely into some of the earlier presentations, particularly where Gavin was talking about how we deliver retrofit taking into account local factors. And I think that local authorities have a key role there. So just a little bit more in terms of Scottish Government and the Energy Efficient Scotland programme. Scottish Government's climate change plan has ambitions for as many homes as possible to have an energy performance certificate of C rating by 2035. To address this, Scottish Government have launched the Energy Efficient Scotland programme, which aims to support the improvement of the energy efficiency of homes, businesses and public buildings. Energy Efficient Scotland seeks to deliver the national scale, centrally coordinated upgrade of all buildings over the next 15 to 20 years. And the programme aims to reduce emissions by 23% and heat demand by 15% in residential buildings by 2032. The works taking place under Energy Efficient Scotland include internal and external wall insulation, loft insulation, energy efficient lighting, building energy management systems, and energy advice services in both domestic and non-domestic buildings. So crucially, Scottish Government note that the public sector is critical to the successful delivery of the climate change plan. They have a role in influencing and enabling positive behaviours, driving change, and acting as an exemplar of climate action and low carbon innovation. So positioning local authorities as crucial to delivering climate goals is in keeping with a broader trend of increasing the variety and number of services for which local authorities are responsible. With regard to Energy Efficient Scotland, since 2016, Scottish Government have run 3 rounds of Energy Efficient Scotland pilots. These have addressed different aspects of retrofitting, and local authorities have had a central role in all of these, with activities including domestic and non-domestic retrofit. So local authorities have coordinated retrofit in blocks of flats, mixed-use tenement buildings, including both domestic and non-domestic occupants, and public and community buildings like museums, schools and community centres. A second element is local heat and energy efficiency strategies, where local authorities develop plans for delivering energy efficiency improvements and low carbon heat in distinct geographical areas. Quite importantly, it is currently a proposed statutory duty for local authorities to deliver that. And then they've also had a role in self-funded engagement strategies, or otherwise known as able to pay, although there is definitely contention around the terminology. And in this activity, local authorities are developing strategies for engaging both domestic and non-domestic customers in implementing energy efficiency measures in their home or business, including both insulation and heating. So in addition to this, local authorities tend to recruit third sector organisations in order to support delivery. So these include charities, social enterprises and arm's length external organisations. And these more plural forms of public service delivery raise questions for how something like a national scale retrofitting programme actually gets delivered. So where does expertise for retrofitting sit? And how do different groups coordinate in order to deliver a large programme of this type? So the data that I'm talking about today was collected through a series of semi-structured interviews conducted with 9 local authorities and their delivery partners. The interviews explored project delivery, working in partnership, and reflections and lessons from the pilots. We interviewed each local authority twice, once at the beginning of the pilot and again towards the end. And broadly, this work is framed within a middle-out perspective, which draws our attention to the significance of the variety of actors involved in the delivery of retrofit and the upstream, downstream and sideways influence that these agents of change can have. So as 2 middle groups working together to deliver energy retrofit, it's these sideways interactions between local authorities and third sector organisations that we thought about for this analysis. Especially interested in how roles and responsibilities are allocated and subsequently how large-scale energy retrofitting actually gets delivered. So to explore this, we coupled the middle-out perspective with Abbott's system of professions to consider how professions define their work tasks and maintain their professional standing. In particular, Abbott suggests that different systems of professions can operate in distinct but linked ecologies. So with its emphasis on coexistence and connectivity, this idea is useful for conceptualizing the relationships between these different groups and thinking about how practices emerge across them. So there are two specific concepts that are quite interesting here. One is hinges and the other is avatars. So hinges are issues or strategies that can operate within different ecologies at the same time. And Abbott suggests that a hinge is a strategy that is mutually beneficial for each ecology, but works differently in each. So there may be different rewards and motivations to these different groups. In a national retrofitting programme, this, like Energy Efficient Scotland, this may be received in quite a different way by the local authorities and their delivery partners. Avatars were introduced by Abbott to describe the replication of ideas and skills of one profession into a new ecology. So this might be individuals or groups that move between different ecologies or transpose the expertise of one professional into another. So critically, the production of these is neither straightforward nor automatic. Instead, there's this political process that emerges from the mobilization of individuals and institutions around particular projects and strategies. So some of the ways that hinges and avatars are emerging for Energy Efficient Scotland. And there are some quotes here from some of the interviews that we carried out. First of all, Energy Efficient Scotland is a hinge. So in what ways do local authorities and third sector organisations perceive this programme? Some authorities saw it as an opportunity to perform energy efficiency interventions in buildings that had been identified for potential works for some time. So one authority mirrored Scottish Government's phrasing in recognising retrofit as a strategic priority. They're noting there that they can reduce carbon, alleviate fuel poverty, reduce energy bills, and also appeal to things like jobs and investment in the area. So there's lots of different reasons why a local authority might want to pursue this. But local authorities also noted their obligation to seek funding. So this sits within a frame or a context of local authorities experiencing quite severe cuts in their funding in recent years. And another participant, for example, noted that they can't be seen to not be applying for funding. So there's this real tension here in that a local authority can get involved because they actually gain the finance to keep people employed in these roles. And then conversely, all of the third sector organisations that we spoke to saw the programme as an opportunity to leverage additional funds. So the scheme allowed one arm's length external organisation to extend the district heating network they owned and managed. So then the bottom quote there says, "We want to expand the district heating through the city by any means we can, really. If there's an opportunity to get external funding, that's a great way and we will do it." And so there's quite a different set of motivations there, and involvement in the programme also provided the chance for third sector organisations to develop and further extend existing partnerships and lay the ground for future work in this area. So people were sort of readying themselves to get involved in this space. And then the second concept of avatars, or the ideas and skills available in these different professions. So within local authorities, some have in-house mechanical and electrical engineers who sometimes had direct responsibility for the energy management of local authority-owned buildings, and as such were integral to some of the decision-making in the Energy Efficient Scotland pilots. This kind of expertise was demonstrated by the Sustainability Housing Officer at one council, who detailed their fabric-first approach to retrofitting. So that's listed at the top of the slide there, where they're essentially saying, you know, we can replace boilers, but what we're going to do first is make sure that the external wall insulation is in place. And this is just an example of how local authorities can be locations in which high levels of expertise are situated, with officers holding a wealth of knowledge about energy in buildings, retrofitting, but also community engagement. However, it's also worth noting that 8 of the 9 pilots in the first round of funding recruited a delivery partner to help with different aspects of the work. So the role of delivery partners in the retrofit pilots varied from them almost entirely managing the projects to taking responsibility for only certain aspects of the work. And specific roles included contributing to bid development, the procurement of work, quality control and assurance, and in several cases where works were taking place in domestic properties, delivery partners were recruited to manage householder engagement. So the bottom quote on this slide details how the delivery partner is the one that's so well positioned to actually manage any kind of interaction with householders. They have the phone line, they have the centre to do that. And so you've got this kind of difference in terms of who is able to do what within these schemes and how different groups need to work together. I'm conscious of time, so I'm just going to wrap up there and note that local authorities are crucial to delivering energy efficient Scotland and presumably other large retrofitting programmes. To do this though, because of their current constraints, they are required to partner with third sector organisations. And this is where you get some conflict in terms of the meanings of these kinds of programmes, and also some big questions about whether partnering is absolutely necessary, because without it, local authorities couldn't deliver the aims of something like Energy Efficient Scotland. So yeah, my big statement is there, the public sector has a crucial role in encouraging and delivering retrofit in private homes. And I'm interested to know your thoughts on this, but also really how well positioned these groups are to contribute to this problem. Just some references there, and the paper I'm referring to is in bold at the bottom if you're interested.